Welcome back to the show. Today we will be reviewing The Pirates of the Caribbean, The Jungle Cruise. I'm just kidding, but really not. But before I get into my review of The Jungle Cruise, please consider this your spoiler warning because I will be talking spoiler-ish. Yes, I know I'm a bit late, but I was not going to spend my money to go see this in the movie theater, even though I do like both leads that are in this movie. Now, I started off by saying Pirates of the Caribbean, and this should have been labeled the Pirates of the Caribbean number 5 or the Pirates of the Caribbean, The Jungle Cruise, because this was Disney's way of doing something similar, but not trying to let us know. Now, maybe this is because they needed something like the Pirates of the Caribbean, though Johnny Depp is engulfed in all that legal problems. But if you watch this movie and did not think from the opening scene that Emily Blunt's character was basically Jack Sparrow, then I don't know what you were looking at, because she is the female version of Jack Sparrow in this movie. The way just the whole museum scene, you could go back. I can't exactly pinpoint what movie, but it's basically that's an escape route or escape plan that Jack Sparrow would have. Even from the music, just the whole movie from beginning to end was it just felt like the Pirates of the Caribbean. And I don't blame Disney for trying to make another franchise that could give them 4 movies and rack in those millions and millions of dollars. I just don't think this is it. And it felt really specific to Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Now, in the Pirates of the Caribbean, they're looking for the Fountain of Youth. And in this movie, they're finding this leaf of this plant that's going to grant them, break the curse and is going to allow them to live out their lives as normal human. Because when we find out is that it was these conquistadors, they come to the new land, and the natives, after being stuck in the jungle, they're dying, but the natives find them and they give them this, special plant that heals them. And after, but I think that one of the conquistadors, he wanted to find this, sacred plant to heal his daughter. And when he got healed from the natives, he asked the natives to give them that plant, and they refused, and he slaughtered them all. And after that, they were cursed, and they get stuck into like this statuesque, curse, where they're just stuck in the barren jungle. Now we find out later on that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character, Black Adam, over here is the reason why they are engulfed or trapped in the jungle with no water. And there's a whole little bits here and there that, as to how they got in there more eloquently than I would put it. But basically, Emily Blunt's character, Lily, wants to find this sacred plant because she heard it's true, and she wants to do it to help people around the world. She just keeps on saying, look at what we could do, how many people we could heal. And early on, we don't really find out that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character is part of that cursed crew that he's been around for 400 years until midway or a little 3/4 of the way of the movie. Then we find out, but she basically wants to find it, so she hires The Rock, and that's when the escapades go, and the movie happens. But it's just literally the plot for on Stranger Tides, just kind of reworked in The Jungle Cruise. And it was really evident to me from that moment, from the beginning. I was like, wow, this is just Pirates of the Caribbean and da 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 da. And then when I started seeing when I heard the plot or the premise of the movie, I was like, oh man, this is just on Stranger Tides. Now, with that being said, I'm not gonna go too much divulging into the whole plot. I know I did a little bit, but my whole point is I'm not gonna break down the whole movie. Go out and watch it. It is an enjoyable watch. I enjoy everything that The Rock does. I'm just a fanboy, if you want. And I do enjoy everything. I don't think there's one thing that Emily Blunt's been in that I have not appreciated or took a fancy to it. Like, I like the both of their acting styles, and a lot of the cast did a great job in acting. That's not the problem. The problem, it was too silly. The script was way too similar to, again, the Stranger Tides for me, and it was just too comical, too goofy per se. Even in the first Pirates of the Caribbean, the first movie, yes, the character of Jack Sparrow was very comical, the way he ran, the way he walked, and that was okay because everything around him wasn't. So you still had a sense of believability, if that's even a word. But you believed it because even though you were just chalking it up to, damn, this, Jack just has that kind of luck. Yes, as we go along the movies, and especially in Pirates of the Caribbean 3 and 4, it becomes super comical. And even, even though I enjoyed it because I'm a huge fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean, you realize that it was just overall, even the side characters or the extra characters or the extra cast, the B actors, I guess, were being comical just along or just as much as Jack Sparrow, and you lost a lot of the magic with those movies towards the end. But this one, everyone was Jack Sparrow. Even The Rock's character had a little bit of that Jack Sparrow in him. Even Emily Blunt's brother had a little bit of Jack Sparrow in them. And even this, like I said, the side characters were very cartoonish. And I get that they're trying to make an adventure movie that's upbeat, that the whole family can enjoy. And again, I did enjoy it. But the prince and Nilo they were the villains or the antagonists in this movies in different levels, but they were just too comical, right? And why they chose to have the prince played by Jesse Plemons be a carbon copy of the Nazis is beyond me. Like, I still don't understand why we have a fascination with making the Nazis the front and center of our villains. I get it. They were a horrible group and they should be cursed for every atrocity that they've done. But really, we can't just make a generic villain from somewhere else. It always has to be the Nazis and stuff like that. So I don't know. It was just that trope has been overplayed, and I get it. We need a villain, but you didn't have to have him with a German Hitlerish accent. He could have just been a generic, militia or military or millionaire that wants, that is doing this because of greed, because he wants to live forever, because he wants to be able to have absolute power. To have this Hitlerish kind of a thing kind of cheapens the whole movie for me. And yeah, again, it's a great, they accomplished what they were doing, a fast-paced kind of always something going on movie that's going to keep your attention. But at what cost is, like I said, it seemed goofy. The script was basic. I mean, it again, it just feels like the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and when all you're thinking is, and at least for me, from the beginning to the end, all I kept on doing after you see it visually, like, yeah, this is the Pirates of the Caribbean, just we work with The Rock and Emily Blunt in it. You can't get past that, because there's always something in the movie that reminds you of it, from the lucky shots that don't hit our characters, to the similar plot devices. And even that, the plot devices to move this movie along were just so far stretched and so far reaching that it just takes you out. But again, it was entertaining, and there's definitely, I'm assuming, going to be a crowd for this. I don't know if there will be sequels for this. The movie doesn't really lend itself to be a sequel. This might just be a standalone, but knowing Disney, they're always looking for that cash, property that is going to give them sequel after sequel after sequel. Even though right now Disney's really just relying on Marvel to be those sequels that they're going to pop out, and that money, they're the money cow, if you will. But again, maybe you're going to be entertained, maybe you're not. But for me, this movie was a C+. Just too much, too goofy. The script was basic. The soundtrack was forgettable. Again, the plot devices, just everything about it. The acting was great. The actors did a great job in acting their roles. But all in all, it's just. But because it was entertaining, because I didn't watch my phone and it didn't lose me, I'll give it a C+. I think that's a respectable rating for a movie that, if it wasn't for The Rock or Emily Blunt, will probably be pretty bad. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments, and like always, that's a wrap.